It's hard to believe that a few handfuls of sand, gravel and charcoal once stood between life and death for soldiers, explorers and villagers alike. But during the darkest days of war and survival, when rivers ran brown with silt and clean water was a luxury, people learned to turn mud into something life-saving. This wasn't high-tech engineering. It was ingenuity, born from desperation, using the materials the earth itself provided. Today we're peeling back the layers of this remarkable homemade sand filter, the kind that transformed dirty, bacteria-filled water into a drinkable lifeline in the field. Let's dig into how it worked, how it was built, and how the same principles still save lives today in off-grid survival, archaeology digs, and even modern humanitarian efforts. During World War II, troops in North Africa and the Pacific Islands often found themselves stranded with nothing but muddy puddles or brackish swamps for water. Chemical purifiers were scarce, and boiling wasn't always an option. What they turned to was the sand filter, a simple but brilliantly effective device that had been used for centuries before the war and continued long after. The concept was straightforward layer natural materials in a way that mimicked how the earth itself purifies groundwater. Each layer played a role. Gravel caught the big debris, sand trapped the fine particles, and charcoal absorbed toxins and bacteria. What trickled out the bottom wasn't crystal clear spring water, but it was safe enough to drink, and in the field that was everything. Some filters were crafted from cut-down oil drums, while others, well, they were improvised using helmets, bamboo, or even hollowed-out logs. But you know, the principle never changed. Use gravity, patience, and natural filtration to restore water to life. At its core, the filter worked in 3 simple stages, each layer performing a different kind of purification. Let's break it down in plain terms you can replicate, shall we? Now the bottom layer was made of coarse gravel, about 2 to 3 inches deep. This gave space for filtered water to collect while keeping the upper layers from clogging. Quite clever, isn't it? On top of that came a finer layer of sand, often river sand, rinsed and sifted to remove debris. This layer did most of the heavy lifting. When muddy water was poured on top, the tiny spaces between sand grains trapped suspended particles, silt, and even some bacteria. The most powerful layer, however, was the charcoal. Soldiers would often crush burnt wood from their campfires and spread it evenly above the sand. Charcoal, particularly activated charcoal, works like a sponge at the molecular level. It absorbs impurities such as chemical residues, odours, and organic toxins. This was crucial in preventing diseases like dysentery, cholera, and typhoid. Water would seep slowly through all these layers, and by the time it reached the bottom, it would appear clear and taste neutral. In a survival scenario, it could then be boiled briefly to ensure full sterilization, but even without boiling, it was often safe enough to sustain life for days. You don't need wartime conditions to appreciate this technique. Honestly, anyone interested in self-reliance, archaeology fieldwork, or off-grid living can build one in under an hour. All you need is a container, a bucket, a cut plastic bottle, or even a clay pot, and, well, 3 natural materials: gravel, sand, and charcoal. Start by poking a small hole at the bottom of your container to allow the filtered water to drain. Place a 2-inch layer of gravel first, followed by 3 to 4 inches of fine sand, and then a top layer of crushed charcoal. Pour your dirty water in slowly, letting gravity do the rest. It will take time, sometimes 10 to 20 minutes for a litre, but the result will shock you. Clear, drinkable water from what started as mud. Field researchers in Africa, for example, often use similar methods when mapping ancient water systems or during drought field work. Even modern emergency kits use the same 3 principles in compact portable form. It's living proof that ancient logic still outperforms modern dependency when technology fails. You might think of this as primitive technology, but it's actually grounded in real chemistry and microbiology. Sand filtration creates what's known as a biofilm layer near the top surface after several uses. This thin layer of microorganisms, well, it actually helps break down pathogens and organic matter in the water. A natural, living purification stage. Charcoal, on the other hand, works through adsorption rather than absorption, meaning impurities stick to its vast internal surface area, which can, believe it or not, exceed 500 square meters per gram. That combination, mechanical trapping by sand and chemical adsorption by charcoal, remains the foundation of most modern water treatment plants today. The filters in your household systems are simply engineered versions of what soldiers and villagers once built with their bare hands. When you understand how people once turned filth into something drinkable, you start to grasp the depth of human resilience. This wasn't just survival, it was adaptation. Whether it was a scout in the African bush, a trapped pilot in the Pacific, or a villager after a flood, they all relied on the same natural order to stay alive. Today, anyone can apply these principles. If you're a camper, prepper, or historian experimenting with field techniques, try building one yourself. Collect rainwater, stir in a bit of mud, then run it through your own homemade filter. You'll witness the same transformation that saved thousands decades ago. And if you work in education or youth programs, teaching this skill does more than filter water. It filters ignorance. It connects people to the ingenuity of our ancestors. The homemade sand filter is more than a clever wartime hack. It's a symbol of how humans learned to partner with the natural world rather than conquer it. It shows that survival isn't about high-end tools. It's about knowing the logic behind them. And for those who study history, it's a reminder that the simplest inventions often carry the deepest wisdom. So, if this glimpse into survival ingenuity sparks something in you, don't let it stop here. Try it, test it, and keep that curiosity alive. And if you enjoy digging into forgotten technologies and lost knowledge like this, make sure to subscribe to In the Beginning and share this video with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts. Every drop of knowledge counts, especially when it can turn mud into life.